Hey, what's up guys? It's Friday night and I'm at home. Really exciting stuff. I'm at home doing Q&A with Facebook. I'm a winner. Anyway, I wanted to answer some of your questions. I missed the last couple of Fridays because I was in Brazil doing the Brazil Ride stage race. So, I'm a bit behind, but here we go. Thanks for participating. First question is from Douglas Vlad. He asks, wool or synthetic? And then I should add my weekly beer pick also. Sadly, I don't think I drank any beer this week because I've been sick, but my weekly beer pick is this Belgian beer called Kriek at this bar called Micro in Kelowna, and it's a Belgian sour, I believe, and it tastes like cherries, and it's awesome. So that's my weekly beer pick, if you're wondering. And wool or synthetic. So I brought with me a couple pairs of socks because I'm assuming we're talking about socks, but I also have wool knee warmers, wool arm warmers, wool base layer, all good Defeat products. But this has been my go-to in the past. This is the Defeat Woolly Bully sock. And I like wool because it's warm. It gives me that cozy feeling because it's a bit heavier. And this is actually American made, which is cool, American wool. But I just like the feeling of wool because it's really cozy and comfortable. But this year I am actually trying a synthetic as well as riding in wool, and this is called the Thermiator, but this is with a thread called Thermalite. It's a hollow core fabric. So what it means is with this synthetic product, it dries faster than wool does, and it's lighter weight. It's about 30% lighter weight. So it's a little bit better for when it's wet out, and I do ride when it's wet out. So that's actually a great comparison. So I'm going to try using the Woolly Bully and using the Thermiator and see what I like better, wool or synthetic, because I don't know the answer to that, but I have both, so I'm going to try. Kurt Van in Wiegen. He says, what's your fuel strategy during an incredibly hot ride in terms of nutrition? Because at Brazil Ride it was extremely hot. One day the Garmin read 52 Celsius, which is like, I don't even know, 110, 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Basically, when it's hot, you need to drink more water. You need to dilute your gels and dilute your sports drink a lot more because your body is sweating so much it's going to need even more water to process the calories that you're putting into it. And it's easy to mess it up. I did mess it up. I was dumping water on myself at every chance I got, which is really good. But they had ice cold Coke at the aid stations. So on day 2, I got to this aid station and I was so hot and this Coke just tasted so good. So I drank so many cups of this Coke. Then I pounded all this water and took a gel and off we went. And we're going up this climb and it was so hot. And I said to Nina, my teammate, I said, Nina, I don't feel so good. I feel nauseous, and it's because I put way too much liquid in my stomach all at once. And I just kind of turned my head and just did a little puke fest, like, Pugh! And then I said, I just puked. She's like, what? Right now? You just puked? And I said, yes. So another mistake another thing I learned is don't put too much water and stuff in your stomach all at once when it's really hot or anytime really. But if you're really hot, you'll be tempted to drink stuff very rapidly because you're thirsty. So that's kind of a fun little anecdote from Brazil Ride for ya. Okay, Paul H. Being a pro mountain biker, you must love to bike as the distances you do are long and enduring, but what is the one thing that you dislike about biking? That is a great question. And, what do I dislike about it? I dislike when I feel inconsistent on my bike. I dislike it whenever I feel like crap, and there's certain days where you just don't want to ride your bike and you're excited to ride and you go out and you feel terrible and you want to go home. I dislike those days whenever my body doesn't cooperate with me. And I also dislike it when I'm trying to ride with people and they just try to hammer me when I just want to have fun. So a lot of times I end up riding by myself because I like setting my own pace. And I'll ride with groups too, but I dislike group riding when people are trying to hammer because that's not fun when you're not trying to hammer. All right, Walker Jackson, quoting some Shakespeare! Sorry. I'm just going to move on from that one. Amir Shahrastani. Tips on avoiding airline fees when traveling with a bike. My tip is know before you go. Check out the airline's policies. I'm actually about to write a story for this online site called The Climb about bicycle airline travel. So stay tuned for that. But basically just check all luggage policies before you go. It varies depending on what country you're traveling to, and it varies among airlines, and they change their policy all the time. So definitely look into that, and I would recommend a soft case with rolling wheels as opposed to a hard case, just because it weighs less and you don't get hit with the overage fees on weight. Ira, I did get my ride for Bernie bracelet. There it is. I haven't been able to ride with it because I haven't been riding this week, but tomorrow I'm hoping to get back on the bike. I did ride on Tuesday too, but I only rode once. Okay. Anouk van den Bielerd. I think I got it right. Is that my thumbs up for saying your name right? Hello from Holland. I have not met someone from Holland that I don't like. My preparation before starting a stage race. My preparation involves packing. So I make a list, a spreadsheet, and I'm really dorky like that, and I check stuff off to make sure I brought everything. And right before a stage race, I don't really ride. I focus on resting and stretching, and if I'm traveling, I rest even more leading up to the travel, because the travel will wear you out as well. But basically, reducing your hours as you get closer to the stage race is the best possible thing to do right before you start a stage race. I just wanted to make sure you didn't ask me if I was prepping for the long term for a stage race. You were asking right before. Hey, Giuliano, doing the BC bike race. Awesome choice. Wanting to know what bike to ride and what tire pressure. I've done the BC bike race twice, once on a 26-inch hardtail and 2.2 tires, which was a total disaster. And I did it this year on my Canyon Lux, and it is a 100mm full suspension. Next year I'll be doing it again, and I'll be doing it with a dropper post for sure, because it's more fun. And I'm hoping to race it on probably a 115mm travel bike. At BC Bike Race, I think if you can keep it fun, 100 to 120mm is all you really need for travel. But if you're like a little nervous on the technical, more travel is better. Or if you just like to jump stuff or just rip stuff even harder, I think 120 is good. And I would recommend bigger tires, 2.3, 2.4 for sure. I live in BC now. I won't run anything less than a 2.4. So that's my recommendation. Omega Man, myself aside, who are your 3 favorite guitarists? I would say my friend Kevin Look. Google Kevin Look. He is amazing. He is like one of the best guitar players on the planet. He was also in a band called Devin and Kevin, but he's amazing, so YouTube that for sure. Eric Clapton and Bonnie Raitt. I love Bonnie Raitt. She's great, and I think she gets kind of swept under the rug with some of these guitar players, but she's awesome. Okay, Marco. 1x11 gearing for riders. Yeah, I think 1x11 is great as long as you can figure out what front chainring to ride. I don't recommend the 32-tooth chainring for a beginner. It's just harder, and in fact, I run a 30-tooth chainring, not the 32, and I even run a 28 sometimes, so you just don't want to be over-geared. But a 30 is a good place to start if you're running a 1x11. Andrew Maddox, do I do any road biking? I don't do a lot of road biking. I did a little bit of road biking leading up to Brazil ride, and it had been the most road biking I've done in a long time. If I ride on the road, I tend to ride my mountain bike on the road because I like to be riding in the same position as I race in. But riding on the road does have a lot of benefit because A, you can control your effort a lot better, so if you need to go easier, then you can go easier, and it's much more challenging on a trail to ride easy just because the terrain often dictates your pace. And also with road biking, you have a very steady power output, whereas mountain biking is pedal coast, pedal coast. So if you want to work on this very baseline power, road biking or riding your mountain bike on the road or on dirt roads, which I prefer, is a great way to train. So that's a great question. And the last question of the day, Philip Pierce, my best food I ate in Brazil. I'm going to say the cake. In Brazil, they eat cake for breakfast every day. They have multiple types of cake, all this great fruit, they have juice, they have thick, luscious black coffee, which I love. I also really enjoyed these beans that were made with manioc flour, and you put them over rice, and definitely some chocolate torte too. Those are the things that stand out in my mind. So that's a wrap for Friday. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Ride your bikes a lot because winter is coming, and then we have to start fat biking, which is still fun. And we'll see you next time. Bye.